everyone. Welcome to the Coolest Chess podcast. I hope you all are good. Today's topic is all about how can Chelsea improve as a team going forward. Because from now until March, we won't have international break unless it's AFCON in January, which is annoying. So I'm with Anopa. Bro, how are you?
I'm good, thanks. Thank you for having me on again. Yeah, just watching those international games, which are most of them are boring, but yeah, I'm good. All good this side.
Yeah. Before we get into it, let's talk about the France game. What are your thoughts about that game? Did you watch the game? Was interesting? Who was your standard player at that time?
It was a good game. I actually thought Italy was going to win that match because the France team wasn't the strongest I've seen. They were missing
Yeah,
Mbappe. Obviously Griezmann's not playing for them anymore. So I was expecting Italy to win. But hey, France surprised me. Their set pieces are very good, very very good set pieces they're taking. Rabiot for me was the standout player for me. I think he was good for me. Yeah.
yeah, I agree with you. Oh man, they scored three set piece goals. Wow.
It's crazy. It's
It
crazy.
seems like set piece are very important in football.
Yeah, it looks very very important. I mean, but also on the other hand, the Italy manager must be angry that his team concedes three set pieces. That's disappointing. That's very disappointing.
But I wouldn't be surprised because their goalkeeper that night was the Tottenham's best goalkeeper. As you know, he struggles during third pieces in the Premier League, so it makes sense.
But I even feel a little bit bad for him because I've noticed when the corners are taken, the teams leave their corner tactics and just come. Everyone goes in the box, surrounds him because they know that's his weakness. You can't catch that ball, or he's not organized. So hey, I feel bad for that goalkeeper. Shame. You could see how upset he was yesterday. He was upset.
Yeah, I agree with you, bro. So, going to start with the Lavia one before we talk about how can you improve as a team because we had the news about Remy Lavia fitness situation. So let me go to the article. So, and then also I'll be sharing the link to the chat today. So if everyone want to join, let us know. We'll send you the link. Okay, let me do this. This is the Lavia one, right? Meanwhile, guys, please kindly subscribe to the channel if you're new. Hit the like button. We're getting closer and closer to 800 subscribers, guys. So please. So the Belgium coach Tedesco said, I think Romeo Lavia has a hamstring problem. It was bothering him this morning, and we didn't want to risk him. So, bro, what are your thoughts about this?
I'm disappointed because the way Maresca's been managing this team, he hasn't even played that much. He hasn't. I don't think he's completed a full 90 minutes. We've substituted him, for Enzo when the game is about to end in the 65th minute actually. So I don't even think he's been rushed back in. We've been patient. He doesn't play the midweek games. He doesn't play Conference League. Doesn't play Carabao Cup. Just the league games. So this is bad because he missed the whole of last season. So we can only hope that this is not. It's just one of those. It's an unlucky, and then he comes back and then he continues. I hope he's not an injury-prone player because that would be a problem in the squad. Yeah.
No, you know what? I mean, man, I don't know what happened to Lavia because I remember the time that season Southampton were relegated. He was one of the best player, and then they went to relegation, right?
Yeah.
Then then Chelsea brought him, and then that season, unfortunately, he was on and off due to injuries. I don't know what happened last season due to his injuries. Right, this season we tried all means to manage his game, but the annoying part is that the Belgium called him up when he's not fully fit. I don't know why these countries are doing like this. But also in our previous game, I think he was limping, if I'm not mistaken. That's why we subbed him off, and then we put Enzo Fernandez. So, man, well, hopefully he's not very injured. But again, we have Enzo Fernandez who's ready to replace him. So, what do you thought about that? Are you happy about Enzo Fernandez replacing Remy Lavia in case if he's not available in December?
I just thought about it right now. I thought about how Enzo and Caicedo are both on international in South America, so
Yeah,
they always come back tired and they miss a training session. So that's another problem because now that means we're gonna have to start those two. There's no cover. It's gonna be has to be Enzo and Caicedo, even if they feel tired. But now with Enzo, I don't know. I feel like he's been improved coming off the bench. You know, I saw a stat that said he had 4 or 5 assists in his 65 minutes of playing. Obviously, you have to look at the opposition against the Conference League team. Had 3 assists, so I mean, we can't look too much into that. But I mean, look, I've been impressed with Enzo off the bench. I won't lie for the games he's come off the bench. The only problem is that when he comes off the bench, it's going to be a basketball game. It's going to be very wide open. So it can be 50-50 because sometimes you can win those basketball games because if let's say we get the ball on a counter attack, it suits us. You know, we kill teams that are we kill teams when we are on transition. So I don't know. I think now we might start looking at Dewsbury Hall now because if Navia's off for a few months because it's a hamstring, then yeah, Dewsbury Hall might be considered in that pivot.
yeah. You mentioned something. So, what are your thoughts about Karen Gisbey? Because it seems like a lot of our fans don't read this guy. They don't understand the signing. Seems like it's a waste signing. So, are they harsh, or is not a good player? So, overall, give me your thoughts about this player.
I think it's harsh. I think it's really harsh because I watched Leicester City when they're in the Premier League, and I watched when they started bringing him into the team. He was amazing. You could tackle, you could find those passes, those difficult passes to strikers. The only problem he's got is with certain players that when you come to a big club, it's not going to be as easy as when you are the main player at your other club. I think he was Leicester's player of the season. So it's not some nonsense player. He's a good player. I've seen him. I think I saw him at Anfield the performance he dominated that midfield. I also saw against I think it was Arsenal. Yeah, he looked very solid. So the only problem with him I have is we mustn't play him on the right wing because Maresca played him on the right wing I think twice this season, and he doesn't look good there. So now it's going to be easy for fans to scapegoat him. I think we've been too harsh on him, too harsh. I think we need to give him a little bit of time. He hasn't even had a Premier League start. He hasn't even got enough Premier League minutes. The only game I remember him having minutes is I think is the Wolves game when we won 6-2. So we need to give him a little bit of time because he's a good player. I really rate him. I think he's a very very good talented player.
Yeah, I agree with you 100%. 100%. Maybe Bobby was here, you would help us to convince him that Kieran Joshua is a good player because our legendary Bobby smoke signals doesn't rate the player. So man, it's too harsh. But again, like you said, I rate the player, but at the same time, jumping from Leicester City to Chelsea, I think it's a big step. And
Yeah,
also, he he already know that we have better players than Leicester City. We have Enzo, Lavia, Moses Caicedo. Unfortunately, he knows that he won't be ahead of them unless he performs or he do a miracle. So, man, let's give him time. It's just his first season. Let him settle because players are not the same. Some takes a while, sometimes doesn't take a while. Look at it, for example, Cole Palmer. He made it easy for himself, just settle quickly. But with Cringes, well, unfortunately, it's not settled very well. So I think we just need to give him a time, and hopefully, he will do well for us.
but what I don't understand is that I agree with you. He needs to get lots of time, but it's his same manager. Same manager from last season. That's the first thing, and same system because it's the Maresca system. So I don't know what now is the problem. Is it, maybe him playing on the right wing because I mean he's not a winger, so he shouldn't be struggling too much. You know what I'm trying to say. Like yes, it's a big jump. Yes, you need to give you time to develop and learn around Chelsea. But he's got good players around him, and same manager. So there's no need for trying to understand what the manager wants from you. He was Leicester City player of the season, so we need to see something that shows okay, this is why we bought you. Something, even with the little that he gets. That's what I think.
Yeah, I agree with you. I agree with you, man. Like I said, like hopefully he doesn't play on the right wing again. Then
Yeah.
we can play on a midfielder role so that he can fulfill his potential because I think he's a good player. Our fans are so harsh, but I know why because we sold Conor Gallagher. That's why. That's the reality of our fan base. No, bro, we need to be honest. We sold Conor
That's true.
Gallagher, and then it seems like people are saying it's Conor Gallagher replacement. No one said that. We brought the player because he's a good squad player, and he will help us in terms of, like for example, we have the Romelu Lavia situation. So, for example, if Enzo or Moses Caicedo are not well rested to play against Leicester City on Saturday, we can play him and another midfielder there. So
But there's a
it's a,
problem. There's another problem though. I just thought of another problem. Do you remember after the international break when we came back and we played Bournemouth, right? I think Enzo wasn't fit and Lavia wasn't fit. The coach said
yeah.
I'm playing Vega and Caicedo. So that's a bit concerning now in my opinion. Because it shows doesn't trust him, you know? Or was you also not fit? Because I don't know. I don't know why he didn't start that game. I thought he was gonna start that game against Bournemouth after that international break. We played a pivot of Caicedo and Vega in the pivots.
Oh yeah. I remember that game. You are right. I remember that game very well.
So is it a lack of trust now? Because I'm thinking on what you're saying. What if he goes for Vega instead? So what? There's something that's happening. I don't know what, but something. It's a bit strange in my opinion.
Yeah, let's see what will happen. But hopefully, he plays him. So
Yeah.
let's address this before we go quickly. I know it's sort of an off topic, but again, it's a former Chelsea legend. We need to talk about him. It's one of our all time leading goal scorer. So the rumors are saying that Frank Lampard is expected to be among up to five candidates for Coventry City vacancy. So in terms of this, what do you think about this? Do you think it's a right call for Frank Lampard to step up again to be a head coach after what happened at Chelsea, even at I think at Everton, if I'm not mistaken? So, what are your thoughts about this before we move on?
At first when he lost the Everton job, I thought maybe management is not for him. Maybe he should just be a pundit, right? That's what I first thought initially. But if you actually like just look at his CV, it's actually a very good CV because if you remember, in his first season, he got us Champions League football with a very very young squad. Okay, I know yes
Yeah,
at the end it didn't look good. I understand, but his first season got us Champions League football. We started splashing on Werner, Havertz, all those type of players, and I don't think he wanted all of them. I think he wanted the players like Rice. He had certain players that he wanted to get, and the board. You know
yeah,
how the Chelsea board is. They have the control. So I felt a bit bad. I felt a bit unfair on him that second season. The Everton one, he still kept them up. Let's not forget that he still kept Everton up. It's just that they weren't playing well. So if you look at his CV overall, still a very good CV. Got top four with Chelsea, kept Everton up in the Premier League. Yes, he wasn't, improving them as they would like. So him to go to Coventry is a good thing because I think there won't be too much pressure. You know, so maybe he can try build up that CV again, and then I don't know, maybe try get them promoted, which is going to be difficult to do. Try get them promoted, and then he can, yeah. Let's see what he can do. I think he can do a good job there, in my opinion.
yeah. Overall, I think for me personally, as much as I want Coventry City to give him another chance, because at the Derby County, I think he was doing very well. They were almost promoted in the Premier League, but again, they failed. I think in the playoffs, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
Then Chelsea made an offer. He came to Chelsea, which for me during his first season, I think he done very 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 well for 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 his experience. But in the second season, we were playing sort of a ping pong football, and it was not good enough for Ramin Abramovich, so they had to sack him and replace him with one of the best managers in the world, Thomas Tuchel. So I understand
Yeah,
that, but also I think Frank Lampard, for me, if they can give him a sporting director or a technical director role, I think he'll do well. Look at the players that he recommended to Chelsea to sign, even other former clubs. Oh my gosh, this guy
it's
knows how
crazy.
to spot. Exactly.
It's crazy. Gyökeres, I was like, the list I was seeing, he could see talent. So maybe he should do that, in my opinion. Maybe he should stick to scouting players, but for us though, because we need those type of we need those type of players in our team.
Yeah, I agree with you. And then we have Julius Amoa says, "Big up, Tebo. Hope you're good. Big up, bro. It's been a pleasure. It's been a pleasure. Hope you're good, bro." So let's go address something before we go to the main topic, because there's a lot to share. Okay, this is actually the main topic because the report, we all seen this on X, I think. So they say
Yeah,
EnzoMaresca has put a giant screen at Carbon so the Chelsea players can watch and learn from their previous mistake in past performances. So overall, what are your thoughts about this?
this is amazing. This is excellent. This is excellent. See, that Badiashile right there, yeah, you should be looking at his mistakes, especially. Make sure that you don't make these same because sometimes the stuff these players get away with sometimes. Because I've noticed, like, we complain about our defenders, right? When we concede, but even when we don't concede, we make so many silly errors, like schoolboy errors. So I mean, look, the way they're looking right now, I don't even think they're happy with their performances. So I think it's a good thing just to see that need to be more aware. Okay, because I feel like our defenders are not. I don't think we have bad defenders, in my opinion. I think we've got defenders who are clumsy or they lose focus. I don't think they're just some nonsense. No, I think there's some quality in them. So especially to the defenders, but also maybe this is good for attackers. Maybe attackers are not seeing the passes that they need to play earlier or things like that. So I'm happy that we have this. This is why I like Enzo Maresca. He's very proactive. You know, we've so far we've had a good season, and instead of just just saying okay, it's fine, we'll just keep doing the same thing. He's like, no, we're having a good season. Let's try work on it. Let's try get better. Because other managers will start doing stuff like this when it's all going downhill. But he's not doing that. He's doing it now, early. So I'm very happy he's doing this. It's a very very good thing to do.
Yeah, 100%, bro. I agree with you. Uh, man, I love this, especially during this time. We need to do something new in terms of keeping the players busy, and then give them a new task. You know what? Now I'm gonna show you the clips and everything that you've been performing bad. You've been improving there. You need to do better there. You're supposed to do this and that there, and hopefully he will do it. Maybe like let's say maybe when the rest of the squad are here. For example, for our attackers, because I think we've been awful in the final third this season. I know this is a heavy from Tabas to Chel, you name them. Even Anza Mauricio Pochettino now under Enzo Maresca. We are so bad in terms of the final third. I don't know why. We need to make better decisions in order for us to score more goals. So hopefully we improve as a team going forward. And then we have no Julius again. He says, "Big up to our panel and update Chelsea." Yes, big
Big
up,
ups,
bro.
big
It's
ups.
been a pleasure. Update Chelsea, bro. Update Chelsea. It's going to be a hectic games ahead of us. We need to get 3 points until let's say maybe until January, bro, because we need to take points. So this is actually our squad. So I just want to talk about this. Oh man, what did I do? Okay, so since the topic is all about how can Chelsea improve, I think we need to talk about our goalkeepers department first. Then we talk about the midfielders, our attackers. How can we improve as a team? So we'll talk about the goalkeepers. So in terms of goalkeeper, do you think Petrovic deserve not Petrovic? Oh, Philip
Jorgensen.
Yeah, Philip Jorgensen deserves to play in the Premier League, start in the Premier League games.
I just based off Sanchez's clumsiness and his stupid mistakes, I think yes, he does deserve starts, in my opinion. But I'm one of those fans who's come to terms that he's never gonna start Premier League games because Maresca's putting too much trust in Sanchez. The press conferences I'm hearing, they are not leaning to say that Jorgensen's even close. You see, so I'd love for Jorgensen to just to see maybe 2 or 3 games, just something different. I'd love to see how he does because I feel like he'll do better than Sanchez. So yeah, in the goalkeeper departments, I don't even think we can improve without dropping Sanchez. Unfortunately, we are in a bit of a sticky situation there.
Yeah, I agree with you. And also, Chelsea have signed another goalkeeper from Belgium. I think is
Mike
man,
Penders, Mike
yeah,
Penders, I think.
Mike Penders. So, so if he comes, listen, if he comes next summer during the preseason, also we have Petrovic, we have Sanchez, we have Flick, Jorgensen. So which goalkeepers do you think we deserve to sell? For me, I'll say Sanchez needs to go first. But again, who do you think we should sell? I don't think we're going to buy a world class goalkeeper, to be honest. After signing so many goalkeepers,
Yeah, I agree with you. I think what we have now is what we're gonna use. I don't think they're gonna go out because then it would make no sense of now going to buy a world class goalkeeper after buying all these. But this board it's crazy because the money we've accumulated from all these keepers, we could have bought one quality number one goalkeeper, and you can still have a backup. So I don't know what we are doing here, honestly. This Mike Penders guy, the amount of I want to call it PR. He seems like he's very very highly rated. So I feel like I want to let's give him a chance. They saying he's going to be the next Thibaut Courtois, so he's highly rated. It seems by Belgian fans. So let's see. I think we should rather sell Sanchez. Then we'll probably have Jorgensen to start, and then Penders as backup. That's what I see in my opinion.
yeah. Also, I don't think they're going to sell. Who's that one? Martinelli or who? It's Martinelli, right? Yeah. Look at his height, bro.
Yeah.
200 centimeter, 6'7", right?
Wow. Sure, he's tall. He's very tall.
Yeah, yeah,
But
it's
but the
very very
but the
tall.
but
And
the age does the age not concern you though? In your opinion, does the age not concern you? Because I know goalkeepers they peak at a later age. It's so young. When I've never seen a young
yeah,
goalkeeper other than Donnarumma who's come and done well.
Dida, Dida for
Ooh,
Brazil.
yes.
He started when he was
That's
16.
a good shot. That's a good shot.
And,
Yes, actually,
and
yeah.
De Gea, how old he was he when Manchester United brought him?
When he started
He
at
was too
United,
young.
yeah,
He
he was there
was,
for quite a while. He did start young.
yeah, I think he started when he was young. But again, man, we need to drop Robert Sanchez. Ah, man. So
Do you
he's
think
ready.
what do you think? Do you think what do you think it will take for Maresco to drop Sanchez in your opinion?
The same thing happened under Mauricio Pochettino. Injury.
If he stays fit the whole season, then we're in trouble. Then, unfortunately,
Yeah, but also in terms of Sanchez, I think he's good enough to take us to the top four, but to take us to challenge the major honors, nah. I don't think it's good enough.
I agree with you. I agree with you.
I don't think it's good enough. So yeah, man. In terms of goalkeepers, I think we need to sell this guy, Raul Sanchez and Lucas Besto. Man, I feel better for this kid. It's one of our academy players, but again, we know he won't get enough time to
Yeah,
to to play in the first team, unless is the cup games, which he's not playing enough game time. So unfortunately, we'll have to leave or go on loan again, which is annoying.
yeah.
And now this is our defenders. Interesting one. We have Ben Chilwell. right? Ben Chilwell, that we need to sell. And this guy, who's this other guy, Axel Disasi and Baran Barishile.
Oh my! But I do feel your opinion sell or
You know what? I've watched Axel Disasi a lot at Monaco, and I think he was playing very, very well there. Unfortunately, at Chelsea, we played him as a right back many games, which is not fair to him. Why can't he play as a centre back? Maybe 3, 5 games in a row, not in the Premier League, maybe in the Conference League. Let him cook there. Let's see what will happen. I think he's a good squad player, just like Tosin Adarabioyo. So I don't mind them. But again, going forward, if you qualify for the Champions League next season, we need to have best two centre backs, the right centre back, also on the left centre back. Also, Ben Barishila, I really rate this kid. I don't know what happened to him. I don't want to lie. I don't know what happened to him. So, unfortunately, bro, we need to sell them, man. What is your opinion?
I mean, look, I agree. I literally agree. On selling both. Well, yeah, selling Disasi and Badiashile. It's just like you just said now. Seeing Badiashile the way he performed in that first Potter season, I don't know if you remember. Like we weren't even bad in games. It's just that our attack was non-existent. We're attacking with
Mm.
Mason Mount left wing, Havertz up top. You're not gonna get goals anyway. And no team will score goals with Havertz and Mount as your attackers. But our defense was solid. We're losing games 1-0 or on the odd occasion 2-1. So our defense was not too bad. And Badiashile was looking cool, calm, composed. And then Pochettino came in and he's just looked a disaster. And I don't know. I saw the Liverpool game when he came off
Mm.
as a sub. I was very impressed with him because I thought he looked good. Yeah, he looked like the Badiashile we knew. But then you go back to the games he comes on against Newcastle, back to the this one
Back to basics.
thing. So I give up with him. So, but Disasi, I feel very bad. Like you just said, him playing right back, it's not his fault. And he's so slow, so he's gonna get exposed in the right back position. He's slow, he's heavy, his touch is not good. But I wanna highlight a performance. I don't know if you remember the one against City. When we're playing City at the Etihad. And we
Mm.
saw that performance Disasi had. He was everywhere, clearing the ball, heading the
Yeah.
ball away. Aerially, I like him for an aerial threat or to get us the ball out from our box. So they're still not good enough at the end. So it's complicated.
Yeah, I agree with you. And we have Bobby joined us in the panel. Big up, Bobby. How are you?
Big ups.
Yeah, big up, guys.
How are you, Bobby?
Yeah, I'm good. I'm good. I was just catching the tail end of your conversation. You're talking about players that you want to get rid of.
Yeah, for example, and also like you said, how can Chelsea improve going forward? Because let's say, for example, next season, let's say we qualify for the Champions League. Do you think we have enough centre backs cover for Levi Colwell and Wesley Fafana, which Fafana at the moment is 50-50? Do you think we have enough to challenge for the Champions League, maybe for the league going forward in terms of Disasi and Badishile? Do you think they're good enough?
Um, yeah, I mean, I'm listening to the issue of putting the Sassi as a centre back itself. He obviously fares better there. But the way I look at it, remember Axel Mina is to come in. Whether he'll even be in the first team at all is left to be seen. But the way I look at it is, I don't think of getting rid of anybody till I have an idea as to who their replacements could be. I know we're looking at that Nottingham Forest guy. We're looking at this guy from Benfica. I think the Forest guy would be too expensive. That's how I look at things, especially if in the Champions League, we're going to need a squad depth of almost equal quality. Uh, yeah, I mean, what can we say? I have my doubts over whether Badiashile is actually good enough, but the manager seems to like him, the club seems to like him, or maybe that's a smokescreen to try and have a sell value for him. But I am more interested in maintaining squad depth than in just offloading without thinking of who could come in that would improve that situation. Because they're not that bad if they're played in the right positions. You know, you have Desasi playing as a centre back. He's obviously much better than as a right back. Can you pair him with Badiashile? That's a question. In some games, yes, but in highly contested games, probably not. So one of them may need to move on to make space for somebody else. But as we move players on, we must eye who is going to fill that position. If there's a better person to fill that position, fine. If there isn't, then I'll be against moving them on.
Yeah, I agree with you. So before we talk about their heat maps here, not their head map, their contribution and everything. So we've been linked to Jonathan Tah, which is, I don't know is true or not, because every player is available if you put your money. I know he will be a free agent. Bayern Munich are one of the top clubs after him. So Bobby, what do you think about Jonathan Tah? Do you think we should go for him?
I don't know if there's any truth in that. I understand he's 28, 29 years old. Is that who we'd be looking at? I don't know. Maybe the manager might want a mature person in the centre back position. What does that do for the pairing, the developing pairing of Colwill and Wesley Fofana? Um, I'm not so sure. To be honest, I'm not so sure it's true. He's a wonderful defender. I would like him, but does he fit the project, which is the most important thing?
Anopa, what about you? What is your thoughts about us linked to Jonathan Tah? Do you like the player?
I'm not a big fan if I'm being honest with you. I'm not really a big fan because I feel like he's also one of those type of players. I mean, like, you can look solid, but sometimes you can also be prone to big mistakes. And one thing I do not want right now when we're getting a centre back is a centre back that has mistakes, because most of our centre backs make mistakes on a regular basis. And I mean, I also don't know how true these links are, because our policy is what, 26 and younger. I know Tosin was not part of that policy, but he was on a free. So I don't know how much truth is to that. I still think the board are going straight for young centre backs. So look, if we had to get him, I don't think I'd be too happy with that. I need a established, proven world class centre back, in my opinion.
Yeah, yeah. Just to add to that, my only concern with him is that he's too slow. This is my biggest concern. He's too slow to be a centre back, and the Bundesliga and the Premier League are two different things. So I don't want a slow centre back. As we know, we have Disasi. Disasi, I think the only concern he has is that he's too slow to be a centre back. So I don't want another slow centre back at Chelsea. Yes, he's solid. His numbers are impressive, but again, he's too slow. Another point, Bayer Leverkusen are conceding a lot of goals, guys. Lot of goals. They leaks a lot of goals. I don't know why. So this is my only concern also. So I don't want him at Chelsea. Hopefully we can go for better centre backs. So this is Wesley Fofana and Levi Corral this season. our two center backs at the moment. So as you can see, pass progression, Levi Colwell is ahead of Wesley Fofana. Uh, uh, Forward passes also and normal passes. And in terms of ball carrier, as you know, Wesley Fofana is good on that. But aerially, they are both lacking. This is the only issue by having aerially they are both lacking. So they need to fix that. And defensive duels, as you can see, Levi Colwell is the better of the two, which is a good thing. So when we buy a center back, I think we need to get a top one, just like this one. We've been linked to him. Let me write his name. Man, is this kid? Do you know anything about him, Anopa? Do you know about him, Thomas Arojo of Benfica?
I've,
No,
I've, I've just heard
I
he's
don't.
rated highly. Sorry, go on.
Go on, Bobby.
No, I don't. I'd like to, but I don't know anything about him. I just see his name coming up very often at this point.
Yeah, I haven't watched Benfica games lately this season. But again, like I said, after the international break, I'll be watching their games more frequent so that I can get to know more about this player. Because I remember before the end of the transfer window, we almost got him. Chelsea were heavily linked with him, but we couldn't get him because Benfica said they couldn't get a replacement for him in a short period of time. That's why we didn't sign him. Right now, it seems like we're still scouting him, and his name has been popping up left and right. So I'll be watching him so that I can get a clear idea about him and see what will happen. So Anapa, you know him.
No. I've just heard how highly rated it is, but I haven't watched anything of him. But yeah, I just hear that he's a good centre back. But again, the age is concerning me because I know. Yes, let's say he's good. Okay, let's say he's a top class centre back. Okay, it doesn't help because as much as we need a centre back that's world. The reason I say proven as well and world class and at a certain age and has experience is because our whole team lacks discipline. Okay, and I feel like if we're gonna buy someone in a position, we need a centre back, right? So it would only make sense to get a centre back who's got leadership qualities as well. And yes, you could say maybe he's got leadership qualities, but he's also young, and the rest of the team is young. So who's really gonna look up to him? You know what I'm trying to say? So I mean, look, it's if we do get him, I mean, look, it could work out, you know. So let's see what the board do. We just have to wait and see.
Yeah, I agree with you, bro. We have so many young players, but again, as much as we complain, talking about experience, it seems like our sporting directors, our owners, need to continue with their current model. So we have to accept the situation, unfortunately. So let's go back here. I just want to talk about this kid, Josh Achimpong. Man, I don't know what is happening about his contract situation at the moment. Man, I'm feeling sad about him because I think he's a fantastic player and he deserves a game time when he play, like, for example, in the Conference League, maybe play the FA Cup and stuff so that he can develop as a player. And then if we have injury or because of Malaguston resumes, he'll be there as a backup option for us. So I don't know his contract situation. So how highly are you rating this kid, Bobby?
The George Achimpong situation is unfortunate. You don't join a company, for example, and have the company train you from youth and then get to a point where you're fully trained and fully capable, and the company say, okay, we trained you for this purpose that we would like you to work for us. And you turn around and tell the company, okay, I'll work for you, but you've got to pay me ridiculous money, or I'll go elsewhere and get that money. That's becoming, okay, you can say some people will say it's business minded, but I think it's you're going ahead of yourself. You're trying to become too full of yourself. There's no sense of reward to the company that has built you up. There's nothing, even if you turned around and said to the company, okay, I'll work for you for such and such an amount, but, allow me, if you really do want to move away, to be able to negotiate at least with somebody else, should they come with a decent offer for you. Nothing. What you're doing is just looking for the bag. I'm 100% behind Chelsea in this. I think Achimpong is a wonderful player. He's good as a right back. He's even probably somebody that would have solved our centre back position. There have been Conference League games that he would benefit from, but he's trying to hold the club to ransom, and the club is showing discipline. We have our structure. They've worked very hard to build that financial structure. There are very, very top players that are working within that structure. People like João Felix have taken a wage cut to play in that structure. Excuse me, who are you? Who are you? You're an 18-year-old kid that we brought up, and now you're coming to put ultimatums on the club. I'm glad the club has the strength and the discipline to shove him in the stands. Let him lose 2, 3 years of his career. We have a contract, sign it. And then we can start talking of, if you want to leave, then we make money off of you. Now, if you just want to be obstinate, that's fine, but there are consequences. You can't keep shitting all over the club for your own benefit. This is Chelsea Football Club. It's here about the badge, not about George Achimpong. It's a very sad situation, but I'm so glad that the club have taken this strong position. It'll be a warning to every young player. You can't just come and behave as you like. We had this with the young kid that went to Brighton, and then the other one that went to Newcastle. Fair enough. In the case of Lewis Hall always was a Geordie boy. He came from Newcastle. He played with us, and he was very polite. He was very cooperative with the club, and he made sure that the club made some good money off of him when he went to Newcastle, and he signed a contract to enforce that. It's just that the manager at the time barely and didn't want to use him. Now Achimpong will be used, but he's trying to, or whoever it is, his advisors are trying to fleece Chelsea. It's not acceptable. It's not acceptable. He might go somewhere and become the next Maradona. Who knows? But the fact of the matter is that Chelsea Football Club is a bigger entity than any one player. How dare you? How dare you think you can just treat the club anyhow and hold the club to ransom? It's like blackmail. So the club took a stand. Son, sign this contract or you will not kick a ball again for Chelsea Football Club until your contract is up. I am 150% behind it. I think the guy's taking liberties, or rather, his advisors are taking liberties. For a Chelsea product, you have no sense of gratitude. That club trained you from a child to till you were this age. They brought you up, they gave you the talents, and they're just saying that, look, this is our process, this is our structure, you need to fit into it, and you're trying to just do your own thing. Well, good luck with that. That's my opinion. I have no sympathy for him whatsoever, no matter how good he is.
Yeah, but I agree with you. I always say this. And a football agent or your advisors can make you the best player in the world or it can ruin your career. One of the two. Is either they advise you very well to become a better player, to be one of the best players in the world, or mess up everything and people will forget
Bega,
about
you
you.
know, in life, you must have humility. I give the example of people like Cristiano Ronaldo and Lionel Messi. At that age, they were the most humble people you could think of. They weren't trying to rub shoulders with the club. They allowed their football to dictate their price. You see what I mean? They came in when Ronaldo at 18 came, he was all over the place, all stepovers and lanky legs here, there, and everywhere. But the kid was a dedicated hard worker. He worked on his craft to the point where he started to become the best. You know, it wasn't until he actually went to Real Madrid in the end that the fruition of who Cristiano Ronaldo was came to the forefront. And that was when he was about 27 years old. He really became the player we all know. Messi didn't really show his qualities, although he started earlier, till is about 1920. He started at 17 with Barcelona in terms of breaking into the first team, and he was humble. The hell is this kid? What has he done to justify him holding the mighty Chelsea Football Club to ransom? How dare you? How dare you? Where's the humility? Where's the humility? Be humble. Let's see what you've got. Then the fans will turn around and say, whoa, this guy, we should really give him more money. Just like we did with Cole Palmer. Cole Palmer came in, a humble boy. His football did the talking. This guy has done nothing. In preseason, he was nobody even noticed him. And now he's coming to hold the club to ransom. How dare you? No. No, I support the club 150%. What the hell are you? What has he done? He hasn't even put in an excellent performance in the first team for us to even notice he's there. Yeah, he comes in and yeah, okay, he's okay. He came off the substitute bench. Yeah, it was okay. Was it a brilliant performance? No. Did it show a lot of promise and potential? Absolutely. Work on it. Work on it. Oh, don't get a load of yourself. I hate players that get too far above themselves and they end up being mediocre in the end. That's what happens. You know, Hudson Odoi, another one, excellent player. Okay, we admit his injury really hurt him, and perhaps Chelsea should have sold him at the time. Bayern Munich wanted about 60 million for him. But after a while, he started getting too ahead of himself. Now look at him. He's a good player. Is he a great player? No. So, no, I reiterate, I can't support what Achipong's doing. At 18, just turned 18, it's too much.
Yeah, I agree with you, Bobby. We have a Kiburu jail here on the chat says, big up guys, big up jelly. I hope you're good. If you're new, please kindly subscribe to the channel. Anapa, what are your thoughts about the Josh Ashampong situation, bro? Before we move on.
I mean, Bobby, I feel like you're being a bit too harsh on him, in my opinion. You know why I say this? Because the let's not act like this club has treated our players, our youth, well. You know, we've seen the situations with Conor Gallagher. We saw the situation with Chalobah. Um, with then they did nothing wrong. So I don't know. I don't think there's enough information where we can, really blame him this much, in my opinion. Because yes, I agree. We do have a model and we do have our certain rules and our policies. But at the same time, I mean, look, if you've got Real Madrid coming to ring you up, they don't just sign mugs, okay? And at the same time, you what the one thing I do agree with you is when you said that he hasn't put up a performance to be, with the to justify his behavior. That I 100% agree, because you can't be doing stuff like that when we haven't even seen you in the first team. Okay, but I do feel you're being a bit too harsh on him, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, I accept your opinion. I think, it's a worthy opinion to have. But I do reject the notion that Real Madrid are all over him. If Real Madrid were all over him, then he would have told Chelsea, look, Madrid is after me. They really want me. What I can do for you is sign a contract so that they can really pay for me. Madrid ain't really after him. They've looked at him, but they've got many options. He's not all that. This is the point. They're looking for a right back, and they're already looking at Trent Alexander-Arnold. They're not even interested in the kid. So, I 100% believe it is a greedy ploy. The club are sticking to their guns. Maybe I'm saying it a bit too firmly. I can accept that. But the club have just told him, look, son, this is our structure, take it or leave it. It's just as simple as that. The club aren't being uh, 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 um, the club aren't being hostile towards him. He's our player, of course not. But they're just telling him what they're just laying down the law. They're just telling him what the rules are now. And either you accept the rules or you don't play. I'm 100% behind the club in that regard. I think if he was smart and if he was that highly sought after, he would have signed a contract knowing that the club's going to come and pay the money for him. It's look at Hudson-Odoi. When Hudson-Odoi was hotcake, and Bayern Munich were really, really wanting him, he signed a contract. Did it stop them? No, they just upped the ante and asked for more money. And then Chelsea said, no, we'll give you increase your wages. And it turned out that it wasn't a good idea because he ended up getting the injury. That's what happens when they're after a young player, not this fantasy that, oh, Real Madrid looked at me once and so they must be after me. I won't sign for Chelsea. Okay, okay. Maybe there is a deal in the background that they're telling him, "Oh, run down your contract and come to us on a free." Okay, I'll accept that, but that shouldn't change Chelsea's position.
Yeah, I agree with you. And then also in terms of Arsenal, though, the time Bayern Munich wanted him, he was doing very, very well. But in terms of Josh Archimpong, it's not there yet. So he doesn't have the courage to say no to Chelsea. Unless if he was one of the star boy at this age. So he's still developing, he's still a young player. They need to make a good decision for him and for rest of his career. So hopefully this issue will be resolved soon because I think he's a fantastic player. He deserves to play for the first team. So let's go to the
Yeah,
midfielders.
I agree. I agree. If he just humbles himself and fulfills some of his potential, then he can have the swag. You know what I mean? But it's not him, it's his advisors and his agents and so on. But you're showing swag and you've done nothing. That just makes no sense. Football doesn't really work like that, and it's a bit of a gamble. If honestly, if I were his advisors, I'll say, look, son, just go prove yourself, sign their contract. Your football will do the talking. And if indeed Real Madrid are looking at you, when they see you performing, they're going to sit up and want you more. But now you're out of the limelight completely. It doesn't make sense to me, honestly. It's a pointless situation. And I do hope it's resolved because I think the first steps to whatever future he has lies at Stamford Bridge.
Yeah, and my biggest issue with Real Madrid, every time they are linked with a player, they tell that player to not to sign a new contract in his respective club so that he can come there as a free agent. Look at, for example, they want Trent, they don't want him to sign a contract. Same as Lenny Euro, who's playing for Manchester United. His contract was running out. They told their boy, don't sign a contract. Next season, you're going to get you as a free agent. Look at Davis at Bayern Munich. The same thing is happening. It's not
Mm.
signing his new contract so that he can go to Real Madrid. This is the issue that we are having
Yeah,
with Real Madrid. So that's why maybe Chelsea say, okay, Real Madrid want you, sign a new contract, bro. Then when they come for you, they must pay a reasonable fee for you.
yeah. I mean, fair enough. You know, if he's fallen for that fly trap, fine. That shouldn't change the club's position. You want to run down the contract? Okay, you have a contract, run it down. But we're not going to play you just to watch you prepare yourself to walk out for a free. It doesn't even make business sense for Chelsea, not to mention anything else. And secondly, all these people saying, oh, we want to go to Real Madrid. Real Madrid has a plethora of talent. What makes you think you're just going to go there and what, walk into their team? Okay, now they have some injuries in the centre back position and they're looking for people, but are you able to make that step up? You can't even make the step up for Chelsea in pre-season. Not to mention Real Madrid playing Champions League football, if you know what I mean. Yeah, you know, he could get there, he could make it. And I don't want to disparage the boy so much because I do believe he's highly talented. But I just think he's going about it all the wrong way, if that's what's actually happening. I hope it's resolved, but at the moment, it doesn't look like it will be. It looks like he'll stay entrenched, or rather, his people will stay entrenched, the club will stay entrenched, and he's going to waste 2 years of his footballing career. And that itself can send you backwards.
Yeah, I agree with you. Guys on the chat, if you're new, please kindly subscribe to the channel and hit the like button. Let's go to our midfielders. You have KDH, Kanichaka, Cole Palmer's not in the midfield. I don't know why they're putting him here. We have Moses Caicedo, Enzo Fernandez, Romeo Lavia, Casade, Renato Vega also is a left back. So they just put him here because he plays a midfielder also. So in terms of our midfielder for this season, maybe let's say going forward for us to qualify in the Champions League, do you think we have good enough midfielders going forward for us to win the Conference League and then qualify for the Champions League and upper?
I think we do. Mostly because of Moises Caicedo. I mean, when you have a player like him, you got so much confidence in any midfield battle you're having. I mean, I don't think there's any like game where our midfield's been outrun. You know, like we've literally either dominated or we've just done a job. So I think our midfield for now it's fine. I'm still worried about the balance because like we said on the other stream, I don't know if you remember when we said, if it's Lavia and Caicedo, are we losing a lot of attack? But if it's Enzo and Caicedo, are we losing defensive stability? So just about getting the right balance, or Maresca just making like some small tweaks in the system. But me personally, I'm very happy with the midfield. I think it's good enough.
Bobby, what about you? Bobby? Bobby, are you still there? Okay. Meanwhile,
Yeah, sorry,
while
I was trying to unmute. Yeah, I agree. I like, you see, one thing we have to remember is that we're a team in development. So, with all these young players, we're the youngest team in the Premier League. I think we're also about the youngest team in the top European leagues, top five leagues in Europe. So we are in development. The players are developing, and as is our midfield. The midfield pairing of Caicedo and Lavia, I think, is the ticket. However, we do have this inconsistency of injuries with Lavia. You know, he was sent back from international break with a niggle. So that's an issue. Is there enough of the right type of depth in midfield for us to cope with that? I think at the moment the midfield needs a little bit of tweaking in terms of numbers. at the moment, I would say there's Caicedo, there's Enzo, who really isn't the best with Caicedo. If you must, I mean, let's be honest, he needs to come in at certain times and he needs to be with the three at certain times. I remember that situation we had with Fabregas and N'Golo Kante, who were just too small to play together in midfield, and often Fabregas would have to come off the bench, or the solution wasn't really solved until Matic was there. And then when Matic was there, sometimes you play all three of them, sometimes you play Matic and another, but you would never play both of them together because it just wasn't effective, certainly in the Premier League. That is the Caicedo kind of Enzo situation of sorts. Now, I think what has to happen in the midfield is Dewsbury Hall has to make way for Andre Santos. Andre Santos coming in the summer will be a good move. The decision then would have to be made. Do we keep with the development of Cesare Casadei, or do we bring in Leslie Ugochukwu? That's a big call. That is a very, very, very big call. However, having seen them both up close and personal, my favor tends to go more towards Casadei. I think he seems to be a better technical player. I mean, now Leslie Ugochukwu is very strong, very effective, and there's a goal in him. Good in the air. Um, it's a tough call. It really is. But either one of those two will survive going into that midfield going forward. But definitely, that's how I look at it. Once that situation is set up like that, then our midfield will be quite satisfactory for a very, very long time to come. But definitely, Dewsbury Hall is not the answer. We'll have to see if Andre Santos is ready. But from all the rave reviews coming from him with his loan period at Strasbourg, I think this summer might be the time to bring him in.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think we need to bring Andre Santos back next season because he's been playing very, very, very well at Strasbourg. Then we can loan Leslie Ukuchuku. For me, I think we need to recall Leslie Ukuchuku in January because seems like Southampton I don't play him a lot anymore. So I don't want the Andre Santos situation at Forest. Remember last season we lost Santos there. They didn't play him enough until we recall him and we loaned him to Strasbourg. So I don't want the situation anymore. So we need to recall him and loan him into another Premier League team. Even the Championship is fine. So we have Siaka Mushi says hello CFC fans. How are you? Big up Siaka. Siaka, it's been a pleasure, bro. It's been a while. It's not seeing you here. I hope you're good, bro. So in terms of midfielders, guys, do you think Kani, man, as much as I know Kani deserves a better chance at Chelsea to play, but it seems like EnzoMaresca doesn't favor him. Do you think we should loan him also in January? Anopa, what about
I
you?
think I love Connie Chukwumeka. I mean, I think he because I feel like he's very versatile. I feel like he can play different and multiple positions, because of his physique, the way he's so good on the ball, the way he can drive. Like he kind of reminds me of like a young Loftus Cheek. So it's very
Mm,
unfortunate with the whole situation. But unfortunately, the way it's looking, it looks like he's gonna have to be sold. Which I don't want to happen. Really, I really rate him because I knew when we signed Dewsbury Hall that there was gonna be a problem with Chukwumeka now because there was not going to be any space for him. And Maresca's even favoring Cassidy as well. And even I think Kendry Pyers is also joining in 2025. So that leaves another question. So, who comes out then, or does he go on loan? So I mean, look, with me, I feel like he's going to be sold. Unfortunately, I feel like Chukwumeka's gone. I think it's unfortunate, but he's not going to be a Chelsea player anymore.
Yeah, with Kanye, before I give Bobby the platform, I think he needs to go on loan in January and just make sure he performs very very well to give EnzoMaresca a headache for the next upcoming season, because Khan is a fantastic player. Like you said, I really like the kid. Unfortunately, last season he had also many injuries. I don't know what happened. Even EnzoMaresca said it. Khan had so many injuries. He wanted him to go on loan so that he can develop more as a player. Unfortunately, we didn't have that chance to send him on loan. So he's suffering the pain of not going on loan. So hopefully on I think next week Thursday we are playing the Conference League. So hopefully can get start that game, showcasing his talent, man. I don't know why Enzo Maras is not starting this player, but again, I'm not a coach. I don't want to complain a lot. As long as we're winning games, hopefully Kani can go on loan, like Enzo Maresca said, showcase his talent. Then we give him another chance. So, Bobby, to you, what are your thoughts about Kani?
Yeah, I have to agree. I take issue with Enzo on that regard. I think I like the idea that he's very cautious about injury-prone players, and Chelsea have too many of them. That's what's done with Ben Chilwell, more than the fact that he doesn't invert. I don't think it's that. I think it's because of his injuries that he's sidelined. And Carney, it would appear the same thing. I don't know if sending him on loan is going to be the solution for him. I really don't. I like him. I think he's an excellent player. I am adverse to this idea of Dewsbury Hall. I've never liked Dewsbury Hall from the time I went to see him at the Bridge in the preseason game against Inter Milan. He was terrible. People were saying, "Oh, he's just coming back from injury," but I've never seen him raise his game beyond that point. Now, I think Carney having these short cameo moments is not helping his game. Is that due to injury? I don't know. I don't train him every day, but I don't like that aspect of Maresca. I think he's making a mistake. I think the whole purchase of Dewsbury Hall was unnecessary. I agree. Carney is flexible. He would have been able to play that role, and he's better at it as well. So it would be a sale that I will not be happy with at all. I think he'll thrive wherever he goes if he's given the opportunity to, and if his injuries allow him to. That's one excellent player. Unless the medical team have given some sort of advice to Maresca concerning the injury of this player, um, I think that's a bad call. Having said that, we've still got Andre Santos to fit into that position of Dewsbury Hall, because that is the one area I think is very vulnerable. As for Kendry Pius, I think the person that Kendry Pius threatens the most is Enzo Maresca. Sorry, is Enzo Fernandez. I believe Kendry Pius will go on loan. I think he's so young. I can see him having a year or two at Strasbourg before coming into the main Chelsea team. The other player that we're talking about is Esteval Williams. There's a lot of rave reviews about him, but every time I see a video of him, he looks quite puny. He looks like a puny kid. And in Brazil, they tend to leave him. I don't see anybody clattering him, or, the defense are not as brutal as they would be in the Premier League. So I know the person he would threaten would be Noni Madueke, but I'm not sure. I think he's going to need time to get used to the Premier League. If he doesn't, gosh, he's going to be one hella player. He really is. If he doesn't need that settling in time, but he's a skinny kid coming from Brazil, never played in Europe before. There will be a almighty culture shock when one or two Premier League defenders clatter into him, and the referee, most of which are very biased against Chelsea, turn around and ignore it. He might find himself in a situation that he really needs to adapt to. So it's an evolution. Some of it is a headache, but certainly with the Carney Chukwuemeka situation, I haven't been happy about it all season. I haven't had an explanation that makes it sit well with me. I just think Carney is being wasted um, for a personal bias that hasn't been justified to me. I don't get it. I don't understand why. I really don't. Because if you're talking about Maresca ball, well, Carney Chukwuemeka has perhaps one of the best close control of players in the midfield, apart from Lavia. He can play tiki taka. He's fairly good in the air. He's certainly got a shot on him. He can go forward. He can defend. I don't get it. I'm confused. I'm very confused. And the only thing I would accept is if someone has found something in his injury record that makes it hard for them to envisage longevity of him in the Chelsea first team.
Yeah, thank you, Bobby. I appreciate it. So let's go to our forward S tag. I mean a slash strikers. So we have Christopher Nkunku, Joao Felix, Petro Neto, Noni Mariweke. But as much as I mentioned them, I have an issue with this one. Maguhi. Maguhi. I mean, I don't know how to pronounce his name. Always struggle to pronounce his name. I think this kid deserves a chance to go on loan again because I think he's not getting enough game time to develop as a player. But again, maybe he likes the fact that he's learning amongst like the likes of Nkunku, Joao Felix, those kind of players. But again, do you think he deserves a loan another?
Yeah, I think he deserves a loan. I mean, you can't just be sitting on that bench. But then again, I don't know, because you can see with Maresca, he's trying his best to try and make sure everyone gets enough game time. That's one thing I do respect Maresca from. There may be players who are unhappy with the amount of game time they're getting, but Maresca, you can see, is really, really trying to make sure everyone gets a fair share amount. With him, if Nkunku's going to start Conference League games, then I would want him to go on loan. But the thing is, it just takes one injury for us being short, and needing a backup striker. Because let's say, for example, Nkunku gets injured, and then we only have Nicholas Jackson and then Gay's on loan. We're going to be in trouble, We're going to have to start doing things like playing Palmer the false nine. And I don't want us to do that. So I want him to go on loan. But I think for now, let's just keep him. Let's see what happens. Because it's a long season. Many fixtures are coming up. But I don't think he's going to get any league minutes, in my opinion, which is a bit sad on his part. But the situation now with Nkunku and Jackson, I think those two are going to fight for the striker position, even though we know Nkunku's a 10. So, yeah, I think he just has to be ready to come on for those Conference League games, maybe sometimes start them like he did against Noah, or sometimes come off the bench. So, yeah, that's how I see it.
Yeah, man, it's those kind of situation where about we don't have a choice. If we send him on loan, and then we have a very injured, like you said, we're going to struggle for a replacement for Jackson or whoever. Also, Jackson is going to AFCON in January, and we don't know what will happen in AFCON. What is he goes there and he get an injury? What will happen to us? Those kind of situations. So hopefully in January, during this December time and going forward, he'll get minutes. But again, will there be enough? We don't know yet. So, Bobby, what are your thoughts about the Maguire situation?
Yeah, Now, that is not a difficult one for me. I think he's a young kid. He came at a very cheap price. Yes, we are a team in development, but we're not here to just let anybody and everybody go out there and ply their trade while the club loses games. We can't do that. So, if there isn't the opportunity to send him out on loan, he has to remain as a squad player. It's really that simple. He's under contract. He's being paid a wage. Um, it's not necessarily a bad thing. I don't know why at Chelsea we suddenly believe that every player is here and Chelsea owes you to be playing in the Premier League week in, week out. Top flight football doesn't work like that. We're so happy to let our players go to Real Madrid and sit on the bench, or go to Man City and sit on the bench. And when they're on the bench at Chelsea, we're already looking at how we can get rid of them. I don't think it's an issue at all. He really isn't. He's there, he's in the squad, and he bides his time. He's getting time in the Conference League. Maybe if we play weaker opposition, he'll get time there. For hopefully we don't have the kind of injury concern that we have had in the past. But if there is, then he may get the opportunity to play in the first team. But for us to be worried about Mark Gui sitting on the bench is just, for me, I think it's it's weird. It's very weird. Somebody has to and will sit on the bench at Chelsea Football Club. It is going to happen. So, members of the fan base, oh, he has to play, or he has to go here, he has to go there. He has to go where? The kid couldn't get a game at Barcelona. That's partly why he came to us. So, it is how old is he? 18 years old, 19 years old? We've got to get a bit real. What team are we? Are we a top four team looking to push for the Premier League and push for the Champions League itself and the World Club Cup? Or are we a mediocre mid-table to bottom team looking at a first 11 and then furnishing other teams with our players? I know we're not that. So I don't understand, that mentality is coming in that, and I'm not saying it's wrong to discuss it. Please don't think that. Of course, we're here to discuss it. Well, I'm just expressing the idea that we should be concerned about Gui being on the bench is crazy. I looked at the Arsenal bench in the game we played against them. Marino was on the bench. He came on later for Declan Rice. Nobody mentions a word. Zinchenko doesn't even get on the field. um, Jorginho on the bench. All these players that if they were at Chelsea on the bench, there would be an uproar. I mean, what are we doing? I mean, these guys, a top team has to have a bench, and the bench will be quality. Look at Real Madrid. You get people like Modric, Chouameni, sometimes Camavinga. All these people coming off the bench. That's top flight football. So sorry, Mark Gui on the bench. I can't even give it a time of day, to be honest.
Yeah, big up to Rosie. Also, she says make sure you smashing that like button and rubbing it. Big up, Rosie. It's been a pleasure. And then I'll oh man, I forget. I'll like to make you a moderator so that you can share link of your channel, because your content also is one of the special ones. It's not about football. I think it's all about food and stuff. So people who likes to cook and everything should follow Rose's YouTube channel. So it seems like the players are back in training right now for the Leicester game. But before we go forward to that game, to touch on it, because I don't think I'll have enough time to do the review on Friday, the match preview on Friday. So Bobby, do you think I addressed this with Dante and Anopa? So do you think we need a number 9 in January to challenge Nicholas Jackson? Bobby?
Oh, number 9 in January. Wow, that's a big call. That's a big call. Um, I think if we get one of the two number 9s we are linked with, it's a matter of opportunity more than need. Because the opportunity to make the deal might occur in January and might be more difficult in the summer. But but then that creates a squad, almost a squad congestion situation where we are already having, there's no issues in-house, but a lot of external criticism of not starting Nkunku in Premier League games. My answer to that is that if we get a striker in the January transfer window, Maresca would have to change the way he plays. He'll have to accommodate that. And my concern with that is that it would have taken us all that time to get used to how he's playing now. It's going to
Mm,
take more time to then get used to the new adjustments. So it's an interesting one. And honestly, that's why the sporting directors and him earn the big bucks, because that's a decision to be made. My personal preference would be to leave it till the summer and then have a look at things again and see if you can make that move then. And then, over a pre-season or maybe during the World Club Cup, start looking at some adjustments to the way we play. But now, going on to halfway through the season, which it will be in January, um, my concern is that it might slightly knock us off our stride.
yeah, I agree with you. I know, but anything you want to touch on that, because I know you spoke about this during our last stream, that I think personally we need a different striker when Jackson is not there. For example, the reason why Bobby I'm mentioning this topic is because Rhys James and Petro Neto, I think we have two deadliest players who know how to cross the ball in the penalty area. And every time you cross a ball, it seems like we are wasting them because Jackson is not good aerially. The rest of the bunch of the players also are not good aerially. So we need a different type of a striker that every time you cross a ball in the penalty area, we know we might score a chance. With Jackson, I know it's highly unlikely for him to score a header goal. I'm not saying he's not good in that, but we know his attribute this moment. So this is the reason.
I mean, yeah, look, like I said on the last stream, I think we need a different profile of striker because if you just look at our team overall, we don't have good goal scoring defenders already. That's a number. That's the first problem. Okay, so with corners or free kicks where you can cross the ball into the box, we're not going to score goals there. Now to top it on top of that, we don't have a striker who can score headers as well. So we have nothing. Aerial threats is zero right now, which is poor because sometimes in a game where you're not playing well or in a game where you can't play the football you want to play, and it's a low block and a deep block, you just need the ball to be crossed in with someone who can cross properly, like like a Neto, a James. You need that ball in the box hanging, and then someone to just finish it off with the striker. That's why I said if we had gotten an Omaradion, even though I didn't really rate him that highly, just someone to bring off the bench, something different. It would have been better. But when you did ask about if we're gonna get one in January, I feel like I doubt it because I feel like priority should be a centre back. If we do get a striker in January, I'll be very happy with that. Very, very happy. But I don't see us getting a striker in January. I just don't see it happening. I feel like it's gonna be too difficult to do. If we do it, I'll be. I mean, fair play to the board if they do that. But let's see what they do.
Yeah, I agree with you. And then we are putting so much pressure on our new set piece coach because we're not scoring enough headed goals. But at the same time, even under Mauricio Pochettino, we didn't have aerial threat in terms of set pieces and everything. I remember Trevor Chalobah scored a fantastic header. I think against Tottenham Hotspurs. And since then, we don't normally score corners. That's the issue we're
It's
having.
it's the type of players you put on because I agree we weren't dominating early with Mauricio Pochettino, but we still did score goals. I remember Disasi in the first game against Liverpool. I remember that offside goal
No,
against
yeah.
Aston Villa. I mean, it was offside. When you have Badiashile and Chalaba or Disasi, those guys have an aerial ability, right? But if you look at Disasi and Badiashile, other than aerially, it's very scary. So we can't just only be looking at winning headers. So it's a problem because we have to score a header sometime. I mean, surely we score a header. Someone has a centre back has to score a header because it's maybe Tosin. I feel like Tosin is that type of player who can get on the end of a cross and then score. Because we can't keep conceding easy chances against teams when they cross the ball in or not even scoring on the other end. We need to sort that out. That's why I agree with what you just said now. We can't put that on the set piece coach because you need to look at the profile of players that Maresca is putting in the team. That's very important. That plays a big part, whether we score them or not.
Yeah, I agree with you. Just look at the log table at the moment. Like, for example, the difference between us, we have 19 points. Look at this. And then Tottenham is 10th. They have 16 points. So the difference is not huge. And we are playing against Leicester City, if I'm not mistaken. I think we need to win this game. We need to win this game, guys. So, and the game will be early kickoff, UK time, 12 p.m. I know my time is 2:30 p.m. Our time, Anopa, but again, UK time is the early kickoff, which I don't normally like. Early kickoff, we don't do very well in terms of early kickoff. Big up Dante, big up bro. Hope you're good. So, so Anopa, I know we touched on this game. So let's get Bobby's opinion about this. Then we can build our lineup for this game. Then I think we can call it a day. So Bobby, what is your thoughts about the Leicester City game? Do you think it's a must-win game for us?
Yes, I
Bobby?
do. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Yes, I do. What can I say? We know that every game from now on in is a must win. It's so tight in the league at the moment, not to mention in the top four, that we must keep a pace of our position. We have to keep a pace of our position. Um, uh, uh, I don't think we should take them for granted at all. Um, Leicester have been, excuse me, preparing for Chelsea throughout this international break. They are at home, and we need to be careful. Do we have the quality to beat them? I believe we do, but we must apply ourselves and remember, coming back from international break, we're not always at our best. I'm hoping that people like Neto will be back in good time. I think he's coming back with at least a week to the game. I hope Palmer's getting fit or he's fit. I don't know what's going on with Lavia. That's the issue. Lavia was sent home with a niggle, so I'm not sure he would play. So we'll have to find an alternative to that. And it's not a jet lagged Caicedo and Enzo. We've been there with that pairing after international games, and they're not always at their best. Um, that the conundrum for us is midfield, and midfield is where games are won and lost. So we need to be very, very careful indeed. Will he use Casaday? Well, we've got a game against the German side in the Conference League midweek of that week, so a lot of decisions to be made. But is it a must win? Absolutely, absolutely. We have to try and win it. Are we capable of it? Yes. Are we capable of it going the other way if we're not careful? Yes.
Yeah, I think it's a must-win game. After watching the log table, there's no difference there. For example, if we lose or draw, we're going to fall back. Let's say 3 or 4 positions, which is bad for us. I don't want that to happen. I want us to
No,
keep on
no.
winning games. Say
It's
again,
always
Bobby.
better to be. It's always better to be on the top looking down than on the bottom looking up. So
100.
I'd rather be where we are, despite the fact that the points are not that great, than, for example, even where Arsenal is, who's just behind us on goal difference. Is the important thing is to stay on top. You can only build from the top, whereas from the bottom you're just trying to catch up.
Yeah, 100%. Anopa, what is your take on this?
Yeah, similar to what Bobby just said. No excuses. We have to win. We must win. That log table is. I mean, people can say we're third. I don't see it as third. I just see it. We're sharing a position with many other teams because
Yeah,
it's so early in the season and goal difference. Yes, we've got a better goal difference, but I mean, look. I mean, this is insane. The how many teams are 19? 4 teams. It's crazy. So the good thing is that we had a difficult run, so we can give Mariska and the team a bit of
it's like,
leeway because
yeah,
the slack because I mean look we weren't even the only game I was disappointed with in all those big games we played with against was United, so other than that I was happy with the performances, so it's okay. The big teams. Maresca's first time playing big teams, so it's okay. um this Leicester game, I'm just very glad that Bonate, I don't know how you say his name, Bonanete or something, he is suspended, so it's a good thing
oh,
because he's been.
Bonanete, oh, yeah.
Yes, he has been looking very good for Leicester. So, we might have got a good thing that he's not playing. Also, I'm a bit concerned with our suspensions. I think Jackson is one yellow card away, and there's another player. I'm not sure who it is. So I just hope these guys don't pick up any silly yellows, especially if it's from dissent for dissent or anything like that. But look, I think the one thing I'm not happy about is this game is, like you said, early kickoff, plus the first game after international break, which does not sit right with me because I know us when we come back, especially with the midfielders, Caicedo and Enzo. I don't know what's gonna happen there. I hope they're ready and so yeah, early kickoff and them coming back late is not good. So we might struggle a bit to start off with the game. So I wouldn't be surprised if we drop points. Actually, I don't know why I've got this feeling that we're gonna do some madness. Charity FC coming back again. So hopefully we can
Uh,
just get the job done, get the 3 points, because I need us to win. We have to win this one. We have to.
yeah, yeah. We can
I
we can
think
we can say again, Bobby.
I was going to say, I think we have enough players that have stayed back. Trouble is, a lot of them stayed back for injury reasons, but we have enough to have built up a head of steam for this game. One thing I do want to see from Maresca, and he has no excuse really this time, he has to start Nkunku, more especially as if Jackson, if he gets a yellow, he would miss the Aston Villa game. And now for the Villa game, we need a good artillery of our offensive players. I think it would
Mm.
be very, very bad management if he doesn't start Nkunku. I wouldn't even bring Jackson off the bench unless it's absolutely necessary, because the last thing we want is for him to pick up a card against Leicester. And we know with his temperament, he's quite capable of doing that. Jackson gets too wound up too easily and he gets too involved. Now, if we want to throw away a position, we go into the Villa game without Jackson. I mean, that's just ridiculous. So this is a game that's set up for him to start in Kunku.
Yeah, I agree with you. And then Cole Palmer, I think is, oh, what happened to this post?
Can I
Oh
just
man.
add, if Bobby, what's your opinion of, or what's your take on why we haven't seen a lot of Nkunku in your opinion? I just want to get that from you. That's okay.
Yeah, I mean, for me, I think people are making too much of it. We are a developing team. Nkunku didn't play football last season. I mean, he barely played any minutes because of injury. He's just coming back from injury. He's being managed. And of course, tactically, Maresca has found it more prudent to use Jackson because of his ability to play physically than Nkunku. Now, it's marginal. It's neither here nor there. But another thing we're failing to understand is that all these players are playing one game a week. There's nobody losing out on the proverbial game time. It's just that you're playing in one competition more than the other. Now, to turn your nose up because it's Conference League, I think it's wrong. And it comes back to this thing that I said earlier about how Chelsea fans become so indignant when they see a quality player on the bench. I think it's ridiculous. I think a lot of the noise about the Nkunku situation is coming from the Chelsea fan base. Nobody else is complaining, including really Nkunku himself. He knows his situation. I would expect Maresca to be talking to him, and the medical team as well. Now he's gone to play for France, and it's debatable if he was ripping up trees in the game he played. Certainly, the game he played, was it last night or the night before? There was People felt he was rather lackluster. Um, Nkunku, he hasn't really shown himself to be that great, even in pre-season. So he's probably taking time to find his feet again. And I think the Leicester game is an excellent opportunity. Rotation has to be the name of the game if we want to get back into top four and start winning trophies. We can't have a fan base constantly insistent on players playing in the first team. Everybody knows there's going to be people on the bench, coming off the bench, playing in different things. I mean, crikey, Liverpool have had players they bought, and you don't see them for 3 months. And even then, you see them on the bench. They have Diego Jota, who I think is perhaps, in my opinion, perhaps one of the best strikers in the Premier League, comes off the bench all the time. Sometimes you don't even get a game. So I really don't know why we do this. It's short-sighted, in my opinion. Very short-sighted. Look at the period we're going into in December over Christmas. You know, it's a hectic period, notoriously so. We need our players fit and ready. We need the rotation to be able to happen seamlessly. And for us that haven't had years of the same team playing together behind them, it is that playing in the Conference League, playing in this position, playing in that position. This is all part of the um, process, the progression, as it were, and it takes time. So, no, I'm not a subscriber to any issues about Nkunku. I think the Nkunku situation is good, it's in hand. The only thing I am looking out for is this Leicester game. I think the Leicester game is an opportunity for him to silence any external noise, and also is tactically the time to use that rotation in the Premier League. In my opinion, I think Nkunku should start ahead of Jackson in this game, and he has to show himself worthy of starting because Jackson is a nuisance. Yeah, his temperament is crazy. Yeah, his finishing, it has improved, but it could be better. But you ask any Premier League defender, who would they rather play against? Is it Nkunku or Jackson? You might find a number of them talking Nkunku at the moment. So um, we'll see what happens on. Is it Saturday we're playing, or is it Sunday? Sunday, I think.
Saturday. Saturday.
Oh, Saturday. Early kickoff
Yeah, early
Saturday.
kickoff.
Right.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah,
so
because
we'll see what happens.
yeah, so because the reason I asked is because I've been on the I mean, look, with what the points you just mentioned now are very, very good, because you're right, because like Jackson is a nuisance up front. You know, we've seen the quality he has, how he can, you know, cause issues for centre backs, and he's had a very good season so far, in my opinion. My thing is, like, for example, when we get to the lineup, Nkunku hasn't started a Premier League game so far this season. Okay, fair enough. But I do feel that he's not getting enough minutes off the bench, in my opinion. Okay, so like I feel like he needs more, because the amount of minutes he's getting off the bench, it's so difficult to make an impact off the bench, in my opinion. And I feel like Maresca needs to do. I mean, I don't know if that's him taking more risks or something, but I feel like he needs to give him more, because let's not forget, Nkunku's a player who was top scorer in the Bundesliga, the main man at Leipzig. It's not just any player we're signing. He was scoring in the Champions League for fun with RB Leipzig, highly rated. So I feel like I get if he would be upset with game time, I could understand it. So I just feel like Maresca needs to trust Nkunku a bit more. That's how I feel about the whole situation.
Fair enough. I think it's building up to that. I thought it was a bit premature earlier on in the season.
Yeah.
He needed to be where he is. But as I've said, for me, the yardstick for that is this coming Leicester game. I think he has to start, in my opinion. Is he getting enough time in Premier League games off the bench? Because he is getting game time. It's just Premier League games we're talking about. That's debatable. But remember, in the Premier League, which is a highly competitive, highly physical league, it's a tactical situation. It becomes about Chelsea, not about Nkunku. So if tactically it's less prudent to use him, he's not going to use him. Now, it's debatable whether it is. I felt in the Arsenal game, he may have brought him on a little bit earlier. I thought maybe giving him at least 20 minutes might have helped him to sneak in that goal. These are marginal things, very marginal things. I don't know. For some reason, he might have seen something. Remember, Arsenal have perhaps the two best centre backs in the Premier League. Gabriel and what's that, Saliba. These guys aren't slouches, and Jackson kept them well occupied. Would Nkunku have done the same thing? Well, it's debatable. It would have been unfair to judge him on the limited time he had. But I hear you. Yeah, those more minutes in the Premier League starts now. It starts with Leicester, and I would feel a little bit concerned if Maresca doesn't give him that start. I'm not doing it because of him. I'm doing it because of Chelsea. I think Chelsea tactically need to do that because of the risk of Jackson getting a card. I'd rather Jackson be carded against Villa and miss out on the Southampton game than be carded against Leicester and miss out on the Villa game. I just think it's just bad tactics if he lets that happen.
Let's go to the lineup, and before that, big up to GFC Gavin. It's been a pleasure, bro, having you here. And we have a Thai session, Chelsea session. Big up, bro. Hope you're good, Thai. And he says we have what? David on the panel. No, we don't have David on the panel, actually. So let's go to the lineup, guys. So this is the lineup exercise. As normal, we know goalkeeper that will start for Chelsea. Unfortunately, it will be Robert Sanchez. Unfortunately. Oh, what did I do? Unfortunately. So in terms of left back, who would you play?
I think we put the best left back in the league right now.
Marco
Cucurella. Yeah.
Yeah, I have to agree with that.
And on the right back, Rhys James or Malo Gusto?
I'll say Reece James because he's been at Cobham, hasn't he? There's no talk of any injuries with him. So
Yeah, I think
he
100%.
needs
I
to
think
play sometime.
EnzoMaresca is managing him very, very, very well. I like that. And the left centre back will have to be Levi Colbert, unfortunately, because Barishi, as much as I like him, I don't think he's good enough at the moment. So we don't have to risk. And Wesley Fofana, is he? I think Wesley Fofana is available, if I'm not mistaken. Who do you play there as a right centre back? Fofana or Disasi or
Tosin.
Tosin? Who will you play, guys?
I'll play Fofana if he's fit, because
Yeah.
Tosin and Disasi will definitely play away in Germany against a team that can be very tricky. So we still need them, but for this Leicester game, I would go Fofana. You know, he knows Leicester. I hope he's fit. He didn't travel, did he? So hopefully he's rested enough and trained enough to be able to play this game.
Yeah, in terms of midfielder, who will you play? Two pairing midfielders.
Sorry, what in terms of what?
Midfielders. Double pivot. Who will you play, guys?
Oh, the pivot. Oh,
Yes.
that's the difficult one, isn't it?
Yeah, this is a difficult one.
Because we don't know. You see, these internationals, um, Enzo and Caicedo, they're playing on, is it Tuesday? Tomorrow.
Wednesday. They're playing.
Wednesday
Wednesday
night.
Well,
Wednesday
even.
night.
playing Wednesday. That's insane.
Yeah.
Oh my word.
And then 24 hours for them to really get back, and then 24 hours to get rid of jet lag, and then they're starting early Saturday morning. I
Oh,
don't really want to see both of them start together. I don't think it's wise. Trouble is now, who will he play instead? Mm, now, there was a guy, oh gosh, I always Miz on his platform. He raised that question, and I had a little bit of a chat with him via the messaging on his platform, and he was talking about this. And I told him, I said, Miz, you know, maybe this is the time to look at Renato Vega in that
yeah.
midfield, because
Yeah.
he hasn't done anything wrong when he's played. And Miz was saying that he doesn't really like him in midfield. He's more sort of left back, centre back. I know that's his best position, but in the Premier League, put him there, uh, and he's likely to have to start in the left back in the Conference League, and we tend to use Cassidy in the Conference League as well. But I don't want to see a starting, and I use the word starting emphatically, a starting Enzo and Caicedo both coming back from long international journeys, and it just doesn't. Nah, it seems like trouble to me. What do you think, guys? I mean, it doesn't
Hundred
Yeah,
seem
percent.
wise.
No chance we
it's
should play that
risky.
pivot. Only one can, in my opinion. I mean, I don't even know why I'm saying one. I think Caicedo needs to start because without Caicedo, I'm so scared with this midfield. So Caicedo definitely should start. I just don't know. I mean, Dante's
Enzo
saying
can start
KDH.
in the Conference League.
Yeah, and Enzo start. I don't even think KDH will start as well because
No.
I think Maresca trusts Vega more. I think it's going to be Vega. You know, I think it's Vega and Caicedo. I think that's what we're going to see, in my opinion.
Vega and Casado.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
don't think
I
we
can't
have a
see anything else.
choice.
Yeah,
I don't think we have a choice. I mean, it's not Vega's forte, as it were, but he does well enough, and he's physical. And Leicester are physical. You know, most Premier League teams are. You know, Vega's a big guy, and he's not afraid of a tackle. And he can go forward, and he's got a shot, and he can, you know, he's fairly okay in the air. It's a no-brainer, if you ask me. Seriously.
So we play Vega and Moses Caicedo.
yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. I agree with you. Maybe let's say we play Moses Caicedo, maybe 50, 45 minutes, the other one 45 minutes, because like we all agree that it will be risky to start both of them after playing late night games in their respective countries. So we'll wait and see, guys. So in terms of the attack, like you said, here unfortunately will be Cole Palmer, because Cole Palmer I think is available. In terms of
Yeah,
this one, who,
as long as it's
yeah, Neto here. Personal will play Neto. What about you guys?
I agree.
No,
I
Neto.
agree. I
Neto
agree.
for sure.
Neto, 100%.
Yeah,
No,
Noni needs to
Neto is
go.
an excellent player. He's such a fantastic player. He really is.
And this side, because we don't know Sancho is fully fit. We have Mikhail Modric, who's I think is doing well at the moment. Who will you play, guys? This
If
side.
Sancho is fit, I'll play Sancho. Modric can play the Conference League because he thrives in it. It's not a bad thing. But I would start Sancho because these people are going to try and low block us and hit us on the break.
Mm.
And Sancho is good with close control, 1-2s, that sort of thing. If he's
Yeah.
fit, play him, and he needs a game anyway, at
Yeah,
least the start.
and I agree with Bobby's point. I think we need to start Christopher Nkunku because
Yes.
our next fixture will be. Let me check this. Our next fixture after Leicester City will be this Aston Villa. Let me check. Ah,
It's Villa in the league. You
yeah,
see,
it's Aston
Tobago,
Villa. Yeah,
if
that's
Tobago,
go
if you
ahead, Bobby.
notice, I'm always defending, Chelsea as a club in terms of the management and the decisions being made. I try to look at it more as to why they're doing it because I think they have a very difficult job rebuilding the club and they
Mm,
need people to sometimes see it from their point of view. But I've got to say, if this guy doesn't start Nkunku in this game, then all the criticism and the barrage of this, that, and the other that he will get, I can't defend it. You know what I mean? I really wouldn't
But
know how to say, okay, give a break because it's just. Sorry, I'm bringing in a parcel that's just been delivered. It's just a stupid thing. So I hope he sees common sense and
wait, but
starts Nkunku. You know what I
so
mean?
so what's the reasoning again for Nkunku starting?
Um, One, I think it will help kill the noise because it's a game that you can start in.
Yeah.
Two, you're making sure that uh, Jackson doesn't pick a silly yellow card, rule him out of the Villa game. In that game, matter who starts between him and Jackson, but they both need to be available because Villa is no gimme. You know what I mean? Villa's a game we have to take very, very seriously. They're a good team, and they're a team rivaling on four. So, sorry. So starting um, Jackson ahead of Nkunku against Leicester, it's ridiculous. Nah, I'm not.
I mean, I don't see him starting Nkunku. As much as I advocate for Nkunku to
this
start,
is
I
the
don't see him
reason.
start because the
That's the reason, Anopa.
no, I see I get the reasoning, but my thing is when it comes to the yellow card watch and the suspensions, that should be focused on people who are going to be making tackles, like obviously your midfielders, your defenders. And yes, we know Jackson's getting the yellow cards for dissent, but I can see Maresco talking to Jackson, telling him not like for this game, do not talk to any referee, do not do any stupid action. So it's not like he's gonna go running into tackles. Yes, I understand he's got a hot head and sometimes he does stupid things, but I think that's something Maresco will discuss with him. So I still see Jackson starting because I only see Nkunku starting when we're gonna have Premier League midweek games. So when we're playing on a Wednesday and then on a Sunday, I still think Jackson starts this game. I think I don't see why Nkunku would start, even though I want him to start. That's just my opinion.
Okay, let me bring a technical angle to it. Excuse me. Um,
Yeah.
Nkunku, right now, there's got to be a time where he starts a Premier League game. It's got to
Agreed.
happen.
Yeah.
And this is as good a time as any. And this is a team where you need players who are perhaps more technical than aggressive. Yeah, Leicester have aggressive centre backs and all that. But we know whether they're at home or not, they're going to low block us or try to. But they're not an Arsenal. If Arsenal low block you, you need to be careful. You need pace to deal with their counter attacks, like we had to have at Stamford Bridge, which was why he played ahead of the game. because he knew there'll be a lot of running on the right. Sorry, and of course on the left, Cucurella had to really put in a shift to keep Saka quiet. Now they don't have Saka and Martinelli in Leicester. They have good players, very good players, but that level of intensity is not there. And I think somebody that is tricky in the box, good at 1-2s, technically very gifted, lethal. That for this game is Cuckoo. My opinion, who knows? Time will tell what. But I think it would be silly of him in the bigger picture not to do that because he's got to use the guy in the Premier League at some point. So introduce him in this game. I'm disparaging that. I just think it's a layup for him. I really do.
Yeah, Dante, can you hear me? Big up, bro. Welcome to the panel. How are you?
Big ups.
Big up,
Hi,
not bad.
Dante.
So I fell asleep. Sorry, I'm a bit late. I
Me.
fell asleep and didn't realize you're on. But I'm here now. Better late than never.
Yeah, because we are almost wrapping up soon. But again, just to address Bobby's situation, Neto and Kunku are one yellow card away from suspension. Levi Colwell and Palmer are the next one. So, what is your thoughts about that? And then Anopa is making an argument that we should go ahead and start Nicholas Jackson, knowing that he'll get a yellow card eventually. I'm telling you, this guy, my only issue with him is always having silly yellow cards. This is my with him. I don't know why this kid
Did you say
does kind
Neto
of.
is a yellow card from suspension? Did you say
Wait,
Neto is?
Neto's one. What? My
Did
goodness.
you say that? Because if
That's
he is, then he
ridiculous.
shouldn't start this game.
No, but
He
then there's the
shouldn't start.
problem.
I'd rather he plays against Villa, to be honest. We've got enough. I mean, you can play Noni. Noni will give them a headache. You can play even use Jao Felix out there. But crikey, don't get Neto. Neto right now, to be honest, is our best player. At this particular point in time, I believe he's our best player.
I'll
So
start with
I wouldn't.
to be honest.
Well, we'll see what he does. But
I really don't think the manager looks at this, especially with attackers. I'm really
Yeah.
being genuine here. I don't think he looks at attack because just imagine Cole Palmer was one suspension away from yellow card. I mean maybe that's a bit different, but Ned Jackson, he needs. I don't know. Maresca needs to tell someone in that team who got leadership to watch Jackson, and I don't know, maybe even hold him back from doing anything because it's just him with his running to the referee. I remember the Liverpool game when the Liverpool had a penalty, and I have no idea what he was doing to get involved, going into the penalty area, being a nuisance for no reason. He just needs to make sure he keeps his cool. With Neto, we can't now drop Jackson and Neto because of the yellow card suspension. Because I don't know, guys. This is a game straight off the international break. We could make things could go south here. I think we need to play a strong team. I hear the argument, but I still think we need Neto and Jackson to start, in my opinion.
Yeah, Dante, what is your thoughts about it? Do you agree with Anapo? Anopa?
Yes and no. I pretty much agree that I think this is a game for Nkunku because the way probably Leicester will set up as well. Have you been watching much of Leicester at all? Tobago, are they sitting back more of a low block or they're playing more attacking football?
They are playing more of attacking football, especially at home.
Exactly. Yep. So yeah, I think Nkunku would start, but because of that, I wouldn't be surprised Jackson as well because they are still playing pretty open. Leicester, they're being very courageous. They're not really sitting back that much, and they are conceding a lot of goals because of it. But that's what the coach wants to play. Their coach wants to play that football. So it's one of those games where they're going to be a little bit open at times, and we can exploit that space. And we've got plenty of players to do that. But yeah, I still think Jackson could start because of that. just like Anopa said, Maresca's thinking if it's an open game like that, that suits Jackson much better than Kunku. Can Kunku do it? He can, but it's not. It's not the same as Jackson with that much space to run into in behind, the link up play, dropping deep. Yeah, I game. So look, it's a tough one. Like Bobby's saying, if it's a good game to start, obviously in Kunku, he can start this game, but yeah, somehow I have a feeling still Jackson will start this one. Even though Aston Villa's
And
next,
get
I
a
still
yellow card.
start this one.
Yeah, and get a yellow card as always.
Yeah, most likely, but it's also a good test for Maresca to tell him, look, I don't want to see you pick up yellow card. If you do pick up yellow card, it can't be for dissent or kicking the ball away or something silly.
Yeah.
But yeah, look, it can happen. But Maresca's the type of guy I think that might keep Jackson for this game just because of the way Leicester's been playing recently. Look, if they decide to set up a low block, which I doubt, because like I said, they're not. He hasn't shown that yet, the manager. Then maybe if that was the case, I would play Nkunku 100% up forward. I would play Palmer on the right wing, and I would even give Felix a go in the central position as the 10, because those technical players against low blocks, that would work much better.
Yeah, 100%. Before we wrap it up, I would like to get Bobby's opinion and Dante on this article or news about EnzoMaresca has put a giant screen at Cobham so the Chelsea players can watch and learn from their previous mistakes in past performances. So, guys, I'll start with you, Dante. What are your thoughts about this? Do you like this or hate it?
Yeah, I loved it. And this is Maresca to a T. He's a micromanager. He likes to look at every little detail. He likes to have every resource available, and that's exactly what he's doing. And that's exactly what a lot of these young players need, to see everything that's happening, what they're doing wrong, uh, getting a different perspective. Because yeah, they look at film. They always look at film, plenty of film. They do those sessions, but this is out on the training pitch. It's a massive screen. He can actually stop in the training and doing this and watching this. He can actually stop them and say, "Look, wait, look at this. Now continue, do it this way, or do it that way, or don't do it that way again, etc." So it's just another learning tool for Maresca, which is gonna utilize 100% because that's the type of manager he is. So yeah, I love it. Yeah, I think it's a great thing. It's good to see. These young kids are still learning, even though some are quite experienced. A lot of them are still learning, and positional play, and just seeing what they're doing in real time, for them to stop them in the middle of training and show, no, this is how I want it. Yeah, that's going to be very, very beneficial.
Yeah, and Bobby, what about you? What is thought about this?
Yeah, I mean, attention to detail is part of what, successful modern football is about. This is just another tool to enhance that detail. I have no problem with it. I think it's a good idea. They need to make it work for them. Anything that helps is important. Antonio Conte was very much into the sort of diet of his players, and yeah, everybody observes a certain diet as a professional footballer, but I think Conte is known to obsess about it, and it works for him. He manages to get the best out of Romelu Lukaku that way, and at the moment, his team Napoli is sat on top of the league in Italy. So, yeah, every tool that gives an attention to detail and enhances performance should be welcomed with open arms. And if this is one, so be it, in my opinion.
Yeah, I agree with you, Bobby.
Do you see
I think
what game is on, what they're watching there at Tobago? Did you see which game that's from on the screen?
I think there is the Wolves game. What
The
do you
Wolves?
think?
Yeah,
Let me do this.
it looks like preseason to me. It looks like one of the American stadiums.
Yeah,
Yeah.
preseason game. You're right.
Yeah, the big screen, and that's very I think that's definitely a preseason game, which is interesting. They're looking at that all the way back at the preseason game. That could be a little sign of things to come, because where did Nkunku play most of preseason?
As an 8.
As an attacking 8/10. Yes,
Yeah.
that's where he played pretty much every
Oh,
game.
and you know why? You know what? You gave me another idea. For example, Enzo Fernandez and Moses Caicedo, one of them might not be available. Maybe this might be a good time to play Nkunku there. What do you think?
Yeah, so just seeing that might be a little clue that, because it's surprising going back all the way to that game. The only thing I think
Yeah.
he used in that 10-8 game preseason. So you could even see Jackson up front and Kunku in behind him. And
Mm.
you might see, like I said, Palmer on the right, or Neto on the right. Depends, but I think might be a little clue, just the way what I can see from here.
Yeah, 100%. So, guys, thank you for coming. It's been a pleasure. Tomorrow, I'll do another stadium bar. It's going to be around Blue Co. As you always like. I like doing news about Strasbourg and everything, just to get to know about Blue Co. Hopefully, Chelsea will buy another club so that I can expand my channel in terms of Blue Co streams. So, thank you, Onopa, Bobby, Dante. We had Julia Samoa, Jelly, we had Siaka, Rosie on the chat. We had a tire session on the chat. Thank you guys for coming, and hopefully I'll do another stream tomorrow longer than this one. Thank you guys. Update Charles.
Big ups. Thank you.
Take care, guys.
Cheers.